Take a look at a $100 bill. The physical paper and ink used to make it cost the government roughly 17 cents. Yet, hand it to a stranger, and they will gladly give you $100 worth of their labor or goods in return. We tend to think of money as a natural resource, something that just exists. But it's actually an invented technology. It was created to solve a very specific problem involving the friction of early human trade. Long before money, early societies relied on direct exchange, the barter system. If Bob had an extra loaf of bread and wanted milk, he had to find someone like Tom who had milk and wanted bread. When their needs matched, trade happened. But this system had a crippling flaw, economists called the coincidence of wants. If Tom suddenly decided he didn't want bread anymore, the trade froze. Bob was left hungry, and the milk sat there. Without a way to trade freely, societies couldn't grow. Humanity desperately needed an abstraction, a universally desired middleman item that everyone would accept, even if they didn't personally need it right that second. The earliest solution was commodity money. Civilization selected durable, universally recognized items to act as placeholders for value. Across ancient Africa and Asia, for example, people used cowrie shells to buy their daily bread. This worked well at a local scale, but it introduced two distinct problems. First, if you lived near the ocean, cowrie shells were everywhere, making them too common to hold value. Second, carrying massive bags of shells for a large purchase was logistically exhausting. Around 600 BC, the Kingdom of Lydia introduced a technological upgrade, metal coins. Using gold and silver solved the abundance problem because extracting them required intense physical labor. The difficulty of mining guaranteed their rarity. Yet, as empires expanded and trade routes stretched across continents, moving tons of heavy gold became dangerous and slow. To fix this, China's Song dynasty invented a lighter abstraction, paper macetes that represented actual gold stored securely in a vault. Over centuries, this receipt concept evolved into the global gold standard. Modern nations printed their own physical paper currencies, but those bills were essentially explicit IOUs, directly tied to heavy physical bullion held by the state. This system neatly solved the problem of carrying heavy metals. However, it anchored the entire economy to the physical constraints of gold, a tether that would soon choke a rapidly industrializing world. The gold standard faced its ultimate stress test during the World Wars. Desperate to fund massive military conflicts, governments started firing up their printing presses, churning out far more paper currency than they had in gold reserves. To stabilize the post-war chaos, 44 nations gathered in 1944 for the Bretton Woods Agreement. They anchored the global economy by tying their local currencies directly to the US dollar, while the United States strictly tethered the dollar to its own massive gold reserves. But by the late 1960s, the system buckled. Global demand for dollars surged, and expensive American military campaigns, like the Vietnam War, rapidly drained resources. The US simply did not have enough physical gold to back all the paper it was circulating. The breaking point arrived in 1971. Facing a potential collapse of its reserves, US President Richard Nixon unilaterally severed the dollar's link to gold entirely. With one executive decision, the anchor to physical reality was cut. The global economy was forced to operate purely on abstraction. This shift gave birth to fiat money. In Latin, fiat translates roughly to "let it be done." A fiat currency holds value strictly because a government declares it does, and the public collectively trusts that declaration. This system grants central banks incredible flexibility. Without the constraint of physical gold, they can conjure money out of thin air during a crisis, lower interest rates to encourage borrowing, and actively stimulate economic growth. Cautionary, but that flexibility hides a fatal vulnerability. Because fiat's value is purely psychological, it requires exceptional management. If leaders make reckless economic decisions, public faith can evaporate rapidly. When a government prints cash far beyond its actual economic output, the currency violently devalues. You end up with hyperinflation, where central banks resort to printing absurd denominations, like Zimbabwe's $100 trillion notes. Once citizens realize the money is losing its purchasing power by the hour, they abandon it entirely. Without public trust, the abstraction fails, and the currency reverts to what it physically is: colored pieces of paper. Every modern economy on Earth navigates this exact psychological tightrope, constantly balancing the immense power of money printing against the fragile trust of its citizens. As physical cash increasingly digitizes, a new layer of abstraction has emerged, designed to bypass the state altogether: cryptocurrency. The goal here is a philosophical pivot. Instead of requiring you to place your faith in the stability of a central government, decentralized systems ask you to place your trust purely in mathematics and unalterable code. Unlike fiat, which can be printed endlessly at a central bank's discretion, digital assets like Bitcoin are mathematically hard-capped. The code strictly limits the total supply, artificially enforcing digital rarity. Yet this new system struggles with its own physical reality. Because of extreme price volatility, jumping from a fraction of a cent to thousands of dollars, people largely treat crypto as a speculative investment rather than a stable tool for buying daily groceries. So for now, we continue to rely on that $100 bill in our wallets. It has no intrinsic value, and it isn't backed by an ounce of gold. It is simply a shared psychological illusion, one that works flawlessly, as long as we all agree to keep pretending.